go right ahead. I'm so excited to talk about this basketball game because this is like the first game that I've legitimately watched the entirety of, and I'm incredibly impressed with the Lakers and how they started out. Now, the Lakers, they ended up winning rather comfortably in this game throughout a majority of the game. They were basically controlling it up until a little bit towards the third quarter and the start of the fourth. That was when things got a little bit closer. But regardless, the Lakers, they won rather comfortably, 110 to 103. They had a pure peak MVP performance coming in from Anthony Davis, 36 points, 16 rebounds, along with 3 blocks. On Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, Anthony Davis ended up taking some shots at Rudy Gobert. And it should also be noted that Rudy Gobert, literally in the first 2 possessions of the game, got dunked on. So, so I just thought that was really funny how, a Defensive Player of the Year just gets absolutely ragdolled by anybody that goes into the paint. It's absolutely incredible to me. But the Lakers, again, the dominant player was Anthony Davis. The rest of the players, they played very solid. Roy Hachimura ended up scoring 18 points. Austin Reeves didn't really shoot the ball that well, but he ended the game with 12 points. And D'Lo was quite pitiful in this matchup. But that's not why the game is garnering as much attention as it is. That's the reason why it's getting a lot of attention is because LeBron and Bronny have finally done it. They have become the first father-son duo to ever play in the same NBA game in the history of basketball. That's one record that LeBron broke last night. Another record that LeBron broke last night was that now he is the league leader in most missed field goals in NBA history. He had just passed Kobe Bryant, who has been the league leader in missed field goals for quite some time. And again, this is probably a milestone that isn't going to be broken. Now, you might think that that's bad news for LeBron, but considering how he broke the scoring title before he was even able to break the most missed title, it definitely says something. So it's something that's it's not that big of a deal. Now, on the Timberwolves side, Anthony Edwards, he played really solid in this game. He ended the game with 27 points, played 41 minutes, got 6 rebounds and 3 assists as well. He went 10 for 25, though, so not entirely sure what that was all about. Julius Randle, in his first game with the Timberwolves, 16 points, 5 for 10, and let's see, DiVincenzo in his first game with the Timberwolves went 3 for 11 with 10 points. Now, the Timberwolves really, the problems with the Timberwolves that I noticed in this game was that in the first half, their offensive rebounding and their rebounding have really been poor. Obviously, with the trade with Karl Anthony Towns losing that second big man that plays in the rotation, it definitely affects your rebounding and your ability to rebound, but it didn't really seem like they were putting in that much effort to try and get the rebounds, or not as much effort as the Lakers were doing with acquiring second chance points. But at least that's just what I saw. And another key takeaway for LA in this game, the coaching was superb. If you watch the game, you could see just how much of a difference the offense was in this game as opposed to as it was in previous games under Darvin Ham. This was a huge W for the coaches, in my opinion, and really shows that this team that previously looked like they were lost out there on the offensive side with Darvin Ham now looks like they actually have an idea of how to run an offense and the kind of shots that they want to get. It was ridiculous. It was incredible. I was shocked to see how much space the Lakers actually had to operate in the paint in this system as opposed to operating with Darvin Ham. Like J.J. Redick said in previous press conference, he intends on running the 5-out or their own version of the 5-out, and it went really well. There were backdoor cuts. The paint was wide open. It officially made Rudy Gobert's life all that more difficult because he was forced to go outside on the arc and try and his teammates were trying to sort of rotate over to wide open three-point shooters. Now, the only real issue for the Lakers in this game that I noticed was the fact that they weren't hitting that many three-pointers. But think of it this way. The Lakers, they held a lead for most of the game rather comfortably. LeBron only scored 16 points in this game. He got 5 rebounds and 4 assists, but it's not like he was the dominant LeBron that we, like the dominant LeBron scorer that we saw in the Olympics and that we saw under Darvin Ham. It wasn't like the Lakers needed him in order to produce offensively, right? So they were up rather comfortably. They did not need LeBron, and they went 5 for 30 from 3. They took 33 pointers, but they only made 5 of them. And they were still able to win rather comfortably. Now, obviously it's a little bit too early to tell whether or not the Timberwolves are really just a bad team now that they don't have Karl Anthony Towns. But just off of what I saw with the Lakers, it seemed they knew what they wanted. They knew the looks that they wanted to get. They knew how to get those looks. And everything was very, very simple for them. So imagine if they actually hit their three-pointers. Like, what would that... In this game, imagine if they would have actually hit all of their three-pointers. Because, again, 5 for 30 from 3 is really... It's incredibly poor. But if they were to hit a couple of their threes... I mean, Austin Reeves went 0 for 5. D'Angelo Russell went 1 for 7. Connect went 1 for 3. And let's see, who else? Max Christie ended up going 0 for 3. LeBron 1 for 4. Roy Hachimura 1 for 4. Anthony Davis 1 for 3. So imagine if these guys collectively just hit maybe 2 more or even 3 more of their three-pointers. They could have won even more comfortably in this game. But they were still able to win, despite the fact that they were shooting this poorly from 3. It's incredible. If the Lakers shot this bad from 3 last season, then they would have lost for sure. And it was really like, it was a ridiculous coaching game. I really gotta say, like, that new offensive system. I've never seen so much wide open space for the Lakers. Like, they actually looked like an incredibly competent team. They were running screens. They were running off-ball plays. Again, 5 out isn't necessarily just isolation basketball. It's just a system that implements spacing, and you could utilize that spacing to however you choose. In this game, however, they ended up relying heavily on Anthony Davis in the scoring department, and rightfully so, because Anthony Davis was... Not only was he getting to the line, but he was also able to score rather comfortably. Now, he did go 11 for 23, which in my opinion is rather solid because, again, he was taking some really difficult mid-ranges and some really difficult post moves. However, it gave him the space that he needed to operate. And what's even more impressive is that this was done more often than not on the Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. Obviously, Rudy Gobert wasn't checking Anthony Davis throughout the entirety of the game, but Rudy Gobert was on him for a significant amount of the time. I mean, that's to be expected. Whenever there's anyone in the paint, Rudy Gobert is going to go to the paint. And they were still able to dominate. Not to mention that they were also able to get some easy looks at the rim, more so than the Timberwolves were able to get in this game. So this is a huge difference, and really paints the Lakers into a new light, because if they can keep, assuming that none of the players get injured, if they can keep this offensive system up, and if they can improve on their shooting, this could be a serious problem for the Western Conference. I think that the Lakers, I know it's just off of the first game, but the Lakers, they really could shock a lot of people with JJ Redick's new scheme and with how he's coaching this team. Like, I was very, very impressed with the amount of space and really how easily they were able to get these shots. Like, you had a couple possessions where it was just like, okay, what are you doing here? You just wasted time. But more often than not, it was productive shot, super efficient shot after efficient shot. And that's exactly what basketball teams try to look for. None of that, whatever Darvin Ham was trying to look for. Those were hyper-efficient shots, some wide-open three-pointers that they ended up missing. So those are going to end up falling down once the season commences in its entirety and the players actually get warmed up. Not to mention LeBron James getting warmed up and legitimate and actually playing to the best of his capabilities. Because while he did score 16 points, he did also go 7 for 16 from the field. So not a very big game for LeBron, but I obviously assume that that's going to change. But or maybe this is actually like the decline that we were seeing coming in from LeBron, or that we thought was going to come in from LeBron, like it's shocking to say this, but like 8 years ago. Like, this might be the big decline that everybody was waiting for and that everybody was expecting for. But I don't really think so. I think this is just the first game. It's a warm-up, new coach, new offensive system. And before I do go into this break, I also want to mention how crucial the timeouts were in this game. Now, timeouts, obviously, they aren't really like... A lot of people might underrate or overrate timeouts. I personally think that timeouts are incredibly important, especially when a team goes on a run. When the Timberwolves were on a run and they were really making the game competitive and making the game close, JJ Redick immediately called a timeout. This was around the fourth quarter that I saw this. But if this was Darvin Ham, he would have called a timeout the second the Lakers blew the lead. And this is like this is the huge difference in the coaching that I'm talking about, because Darvin Ham wouldn't have called that timeout. And if he wouldn't have called the timeout, chances are the Lakers could have probably lost this game. But he called a timeout at the right time, and they ended up getting back into the rhythm and completely shut down the comeback that the Timberwolves were making. It was an incredible win for the coaching. So, enough about the Lakers, enough about talking about LeBron and Bronny. We're going to talk about the next game on this list, which is the Celtics, and they absolutely destroyed the Knicks. So we're going to talk about that right after this short break. Be sure to stay tuned.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. Oh.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?